Hey you guys. Today's episode of Ask Alex is a little bit different. I know when you opened the video, there was no intro. There wasn't anything basically greeting you, and I do apologize for that. But this is not going to be a typical episode of Ask Alex today. Today we are going to be remembering Chadwick Boseman, the amazing actor who portrayed one of my favorite superheroes, Black Panther. I think almost every video that I've done since maybe 2018 up until now, I've had this hat on, this chain on. And as you guys know, I'm a huge fan of it. And by the way, before I go any further, I want to appreciate everyone who came to the live stream. Me talking about his death. It definitely wasn't for self promotion, but it was one of those things where I felt like as a community, we should all come together and grieve and understand what this meaning is. And I couldn't do this without my co-host with me today. So I have Jeremy and Ian with me. So Jeremy and Ian, how are you guys doing today?
Thanks for having me, bud.
Yeah, I'm doing great, man. It's wet over here, and this has been kind of a sad week, all things considering, like socially and like personally, and then worldwide. But I have good hope for the next week.
Yeah. It's been a very trying year. 2020. A lot of I will say there have been some good things, but in this particular half of the year has not been fun for a lot of us. And to see this happen, definitely as fans, is something that we really could not predict or really understand. But before we get into remembering Chadwick Boseman, I just want to address two things. Now, on the day of his death, even during the live stream, I had a number of people ask me, tweet me, and also send me emails. What are they going to do with Black Panther 2? Are they going to recast him? Is Shuri going to be Black Panther? Now listen, I'm not going to fault anybody for asking those types of questions because those are very valid questions. But I want you guys to understand we haven't buried Chadwick yet. So personally, I don't think that that's a conversation we should be having, at least right now. I think we should wait maybe at least 7 days. He's been gone for 2. So I'm not saying it's wrong to ask that question. But one thing I will say, I do want to hold Screen Rant accountable. For them to post that story the day of his death does not make sense to me. Because in every other media publication, they were writing stories about how he was sick and what Chadwick Boseman meant to him as a man and as a character and even portraying the Black Panther, what that meant to those writers at different news publications. Variety did it, Hollywood Reporter did it, Deadline did it. You barely see. I mean, I'm not gonna say Screen Rant was the only one doing that, but the ones who were talking about what's next for Black Panther, I know that Marvel's going to take care of that. But at the end of the day, you have to understand that most people are not ready to hear, oh, are they going to recast? Listen, at the end of the day, Marvel's going to do what they're going to do. And I stand behind whatever they do. But I think having that conversation the day that he died is a little bit insensitive for me. For me now, I'm not saying that you can't have that conversation. However, I'm just saying for me, I don't think that right now is the right time for that. But I just wanted to address those couple things. But for me, as I said on the live stream, remembering Chadwick Boseman was a man who was just a hero off screen and a hero on screen. Chadwick Boseman was definitely selective in terms of the roles that he picked, from Thurgood Marshall to Jackie Robinson to even James Brown. He played iconic black characters throughout his career, including T'Challa. I have to say, growing up, I didn't read a lot about Black Panther until maybe eighth or ninth grade. And then when I heard that he got cast as Black Panther back in 2015, 2016, I even said, I'm not so sure if I want Jackie Robinson playing Black Panther. But when he played that role in Civil War, I was immediately hooked. And then I started reading comics, more about the elements of Black Panther, and I was just like, wow, I missed out on a lot of stuff that I just didn't, I just didn't come to when I should have. And immediately when he came on screen and we saw what he did, there wasn't a single Avenger that could handle him at all. Like he was that dude. And I remember fondly of I used to work at the Hilton Pensacola Beach, and a lot of my coworkers, really great people. Jeremy's wife was one of those coworkers that I worked with. A lot of people knew that I loved Black Panther. I couldn't wait to go see that movie. I bought a dashiki. I bought my wife a dashiki. We were talking about it at the time. I believe my wife was pregnant. And I was just like, I was like so ready to go see Black Panther because I'd never seen Blade in theaters and I'd never seen any other black superhero movie for a person that looked like me. So I was so excited. And I remember I went to go see it. And initially when I went into the theater, the first two people I saw were Jeremy and his wife. And they were there sitting in the stands. And I probably sat like a couple rows behind them. And we just experienced that movie. I remember seeing that movie in IMAX. From the opening credits up until the end of that movie, I was in tears. Because just to see Wakanda, and not because of what Wakanda represents, but you saw black people like respect one another. There wasn't a hierarchy. It was like, you're my brother, you're my sister. Let's live this life together. And in a lot of ways, that's what Chadwick Boseman represented outside of the whole Black Panther stuff. He went to go visit kids who had cancer, and he was struggling with the very same thing that they were struggling with. And even though he was struggling with it, he pushed through it. And it was just like, wow, like you would have never thought. And what kills me is that like literally 6 months ago, because we talked about this on Ask Alex, that people were reporting that he lost weight and saying that, people were basically body shaming him. And we even said on the show, like, he was donating money to underprivileged kids. And all y'all kept worrying about was that he lost weight. And come to find out, while he was donating money to those kids, he was actually dying. And it just, when you hear that type of stuff, it really messes you up. And it's just like, wow, like it amazes me as a society where we see an actor either put on weight or lose weight, and we don't even know what they're going through. As I remember Chadwick Boseman, he was a stand-up guy. He was a black man who loved God. He did the right thing, and he was a hero off screen. He cared about the black community. But I said this on my live stream, Chadwick Boseman is more than just the Black Panther. He is a black hero. He is the best of us. When this happened, me and the guys were texting, and Jeremy hit me up, and he was just basically checking on me. He was basically saying, now that he's gone, his legacy lives through us, lives through me, lives through all of us. And Jeremy's right when he says that. I think anyone that's a person of color or not, we can all take his legacy and make sure it continues to be fulfilled. While we do things about inclusion, we tell our own stories. We cannot allow his legacy to be forgotten. And also, before I pass it down to anyone else, I just want to reiterate that Chadwick Boseman, like I said before, was more than just the Black Panther. He was an amazing actor. He was a son. He was a community activist, and he was a husband. I didn't even know he was married. Like that's how hard it hit me, because he just got married, and now his wife has to now go bury her husband. His family, his parents, have to now go bury their son. A son who was an icon, who was a hero that said, I'm a black man with integrity. You can be one too. So, as I remember Chadwick Boseman, he was an amazing man. And I'm going to pass this down to Ian. Ian, what are some thoughts that you had about Chadwick Boseman as he was going throughout his career, whether it's Black Panther or any other film, and what do you think about him outside of him being in front of the camera?
So I took a day to reflect a little bit about everything. Like immediately, it was sadness and pain hearing this, just mainly because of how young he was. Of course, we love the entertainment side. We love Black Panther. We love James Brown. We love the Jackie Brown stuff. Jackie Robinson stuff. Sorry. But like the first thing that pained me is like this dude's like 12 years older than me. He's not even that much older than me. And but then like I got a little bit more perspective. Apparently he was banned this for like 3 years or 4 years.
Yeah, about 4 years. Yeah,
about 4 years. Yeah, with if you look back on his history, 4 years was probably the best 4 years of his life. Like he literally did all these iconic roles. He became like the poster of black superheroes. Yeah, he became the poster of black superheroes. And then last year he was in the movie of the biggest movie of all time, the highest grossing movie of all time. Talk about filling that bucket list, dude. Like he literally, I don't know the situation of what happened when he found out and until the day of his death, but I can only imagine he found that out and lived the best of his life, and he is proof that this dude lived the best of his life, and that's a big message for everybody. Like, hey, if you got a dream, keep going for it. Like this dude, he seems like he was always passionate about acting. And within his last couple years of life, he didn't have his iconic role when he was in his early 20s or 30s. Like his best roles were like within the last 4 years, within the time. And the fact that he was doing that while he had cancer, like I'm speechless. I'm speechless. A lot of us, when we find out we had cancer, we just go and lay in the bed till we die. You know, this dude said, you know what? Cancer's coming. I'm just going to let it catch me. I'm just going to do these roles. I'm going to help out as much people as I can because he was doing a lot of groundbreaking things in the community as well. So that's he gets nothing but my love and respect when I hear stuff like that, and it's very inspirational. If I was to find out, I have a dying disease or like something's going to happen to me, I can look back to his life and be like, hey, just do what I want to do what I love to do. Because before hearing this, I might have been that person that was like, all right, I got cancer. Woe is me. I'm going to sit on this couch, let people cry until I die. And whenever, we don't even know when that's going to happen. But that's something to respect. And that's the perspective I look at when I think about him now. Like this dude found out he's got cancer. And he's like, all right, well, I'm going to be the biggest superhero in the world. And he did. He was the highest grossing, not only in his personal movie, but in a big franchise movie like Avengers Endgame. And now everybody knows him. That legacy is there forever, and that's great.
Yeah. I couldn't echo that anymore. Like, we don't know how much time we have on this earth, and if Chadwick Boseman is a testament to anything, it's to definitely live out your best life. I will say, I do firmly believe that Chadwick was probably trying to treat his cancer. But then again, I don't know. I'm not a part of his camp. But yeah, I like Ian said, if there was something to take away from this, is that no matter what life throws at you, do what you can to live your best life. Jeremy, I know we talked about this during the last couple of days. What's your biggest takeaway from Chadwick Boseman on camera and off camera?
It's an amazing thing, the way that art and culture can universally move people and can also universally connect people. I'm glad you brought that up because Black Panther means a lot to a lot of people. You and I, maybe we would have met afterwards, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Chances are we could have run into each other somewhere else and might still be doing the same thing right now. But in another way, it could have changed the entire direction of my life in some small way, like everything is is super related to each other. And Alex, I think you hit a lot on the grief and also the mourning of it. You know, the fact that he is a superhero, to be sure, on the big screen. Black Panther is absolutely an iconic character. Jackie Robinson was a hero. You know, he picked, like you said, selective roles. He has been a busy actor for a very long time. He was on like General Hospital, you know, years and years and years ago in the beginning of his career. And maybe he could have done more big budget stuff before Black Panther. But he seemed to be like what Ian said. He's an actor. And I think what Ian touched on is a lot of the good that you can take away from this. He was obviously a private person. Yeah. If he wanted, he could have had the sympathy of the entire world, right? Celebrities bitch and moan that they're stuck inside for quarantine, right? So the fact that he was able to, if he wanted the world to know, they could have. He chose to deal with it the way he did, and I have a lot of respect for him for that. Like, he didn't have to make a big show out of it. If he would have wanted to, that would have been great too. But I really respect his choices to be a private person when so many celebrities are trying to turn their names into a brand and all of these things. He didn't come off to me like that. He seemed like a very authentic person. It is super sad. It is a damn shame. I understand why people are curious about Black Panther. I'm not gonna begrudge anybody for feeling those ways or being curious. You know, a lot of us are connected through movies, so I understand that. I also agree it is very poor taste to go directly to that. They do need time to mourn. I feel like that's the respectful thing to do. But a lot of the Avengers and Josh Gad released, wonderful social media posts about him. I really recommend reading the one that Josh Gad posted about catching the water. I mean, it's really, really powerful stuff. And I never heard anybody say anything bad about him. So it is a shame. The way that we found out was very strange, but I hit up Ian and Alex immediately. I know that, it's movies that kind of held us together, and it's something that we all share. Everybody that's watching this podcast, like we are all sharing these experiences together, these lived experiences, whether it's watching the movies together, collectively mourning the loss of these people who we love and who are icons to us. And all I can say is, what is life without legacy, right? Whether it's through our kids, whether it's through our work, whether it's through our day job, like whatever the thing is, how do you contribute to the world? And you look at all that Chadwick Boseman was able to accomplish in 43 years and know that legacy will live on forever.
Yeah, Jeremy's absolutely right. I want people to take away from this is that, and it's funny, I think this is a line in Black Panther. Death is definitely not the end. His legacy lives through all of us. I personally think that it's very important for all of us to realize is that Chadwick was when I say he was an icon, I mean that he was an icon. He wasn't that typical statistical Black person that we saw on the Shade Room. And if he was on the Breakfast Club, it was for a positive reason. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't, you can't find a story that he was involved in something where that was debatable at best. And I'm not saying that all Black actors or actors in general are like that, but that was the one thing that I saw about Chadwick Boseman, that he was such a humble, spiritual, amazing dude who was just cool. And what kills me, there's this interview that I know I shared on Facebook where he says during the promotion of Black Panther, where he was talking to two Black boys who were battling cancer. And as they're making the movie, the boys are trying to hold on so they can see the movie. In the midst of their filming, they passed, and they couldn't make the movie fast enough for them to be around to see it. And when you look at that interview and, Chadwick is crying, I'm like, he's not crying solely because of the fact that he couldn't get this movie to them like as soon as possible. He's crying because he knows what they're going through. Like literally, what they died from is what he's going through right now. And in the midst of that, he still was able to pull out an amazing movie and make other movies after that. And for that reason, I have to say he was more than just an actor. He was just more than just the Black Panther. So chat for me and the whole Ask Alex and Momentum Media family. This is how we wanted to remember Chadwick Boseman. He's an amazing man. My prayers go out to his family and his wife, and any siblings he may have had, loved ones. But I would encourage everyone who's a fan of him and a fan of what he's done, on and off camera, to make sure that we uphold his legacy as a man and realize that as kings of this world, that the same integrity that we have, we should definitely magnify that. I don't think that and again, I'll reiterate, I don't want to make it seem like this is a bad thing, but having conversations about the future of Black Panther 2, that's very normal. I know for a fact I'll probably start talking about it probably next week. But I think the day of his death was a little bit too much. Before I end the video, I'm gonna give my panelists some final thoughts.
Yeah. On that, I don't know that there's a right or a wrong way to grieve. I've seen trolls saying awful things, so I feel that asking about Black Panther is, again, it's the way that these people know who Chadwick Boseman is in the first place. So I don't have any ill will towards those people. The publications, that's a different situation. They're corporations and they're getting the clicks. You know what I mean? So tabloids have been doing it forever. Is it gross? Yeah, absolutely. Whoever thought Screen Rant was on the same page as the Hollywood Reporter, though, like it's a different kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, that's very true.
Other than that, though, I echo a lot of what you guys said. I think the biggest takeaway is the things that you said, Alex, is like let him be an example, like to hold yourself to a higher standard. You know, let him be a positive influence. Let that legacy live on that way, and celebrate his work. If you're a fan, celebrate his work. I don't or donate to a worthy cause. You know, there's a lot of ways that you can bring good into the world, and so that that's on you how you choose to do it. I will say, and I strongly believe this: go get your checkups. Always, always, always know what's going on with yourself, because it doesn't take a long time for illnesses to get away from you. If they're caught early, a lot of times you can do preventative things. I'm not saying this is the situation there. I'm just saying take care of yourselves. You know, that's something that's very, very important, because at the end of the day, life is incredibly, incredibly delicate and there's no guarantees. So, it sounds cliche, but it's absolutely the truth. It's like, when I found out about this news, I reached out to the people I care about. I made sure everybody was good. Check in with your mom. Check in with your best friend that you hadn't talked to in a year, whoever you need to do, because, you don't know what somebody's going through. And that's something with Chadwick Boseman. We didn't know. So, just check in, take care of yourselves, and that's it.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. I want to echo those sentiments before I pass it down. Like, reach out to family or loved ones. Definitely get yourself it literally will take you no more than 20 or 30 minutes to get a physical every year. I try to do it every year. Now that I have a child, I want to make sure I'm around long enough before, so that way I don't have to put her in a position. So definitely get your checkups, check on family and loved ones. I definitely echo those sentiments. But Ian, what are your final thoughts about Chadwick Boseman, and how would you respond to the comments about Black Panther 2?
Final thoughts on Chadwick Boseman. He played iconic characters like Jackie Robinson and James Brown and Black Panther. But now at death, in my eyes, he is an icon. So he not only did roles of icon, he has became an icon. And I'm going to always, whenever his picture or his name comes up in the future, he's on that list of people that I will always love and respect in a conversation. So he's became that icon that he's always played. So it's like he already knew when he would do that. Like, oh, I'm just playing the role that I already know, you know. So respect to that and love to that. That's my final thoughts on him. When it comes to like these articles talking about what to do with Black Panther next, I think Jeremy said it best. This is not really the time to talk about that. You know, I can understand the worry as a comic book and Marvel fan, but at this time, like that's the last thing in my mind, man. You know, prayers to his wife and everybody that loved him. How I would handle it, I was thinking about it the other day. It's a conversation and a thought to not have. If you are a fan of Marvel and Black Panther, you are going to have that thought. So let's not pretend like we don't think about that. Right. How I would handle that is, look, have him just come in appearances and just mask on, you know, full body suit. And we have a little bit of his voiceover. Just you can make those appearances as of a solo movie. In the MCU, I don't think we should do it. You know, in the MCU, I do not think we should do any more Black Panther movies. That's just my opinion. I'm good on that. We got a great movie, great performance from him. It was a good story. It was a good one-off story, in my opinion. You don't even have to dive into any more stories with that story. So, yeah, we don't have to kill T'Challa in the MCU. So if like he makes an appearance, maybe in his uniform without showing Chadwick Boseman's face, I'm cool with that. If you want to make Black Panther movies in the future, of course, out of the MCU, in the MCU, it should always be Chadwick Boseman. It's not like a whole War Machine situation where they recasted the person. Like, that's an expendable character. There's only one Black Panther, in my opinion. So, in my opinion, keep it Chadwick Boseman in the MCU. If you want to do outside the MCU years to come, that's Hollywood's decision. I'm not against that. But no, right now, I'm not even trying to hear that conversation of replacing this icon, as I said in the beginning.
Yeah, I understand. And right now, I haven't even given it much thought because it's not something I'm really thinking about at the moment. But those are our final thoughts about Chadwick Boseman. And I hope one day in my life, maybe one day soon, I'm able to meet his family and just express to them how much of an inspiration he was. One day, maybe they'll see this video. I'm not so sure. But to Chadwick, to his family, to the people who loved him, from us to you, we appreciate and love the work that Chadwick has done on and off camera. I know none of us have known him personally, but the moment we saw him on screen, let me just say this. There's a picture floating around of two black kids pointing out a poster, and it says, those kids are saying, "That's me up there." I kid you not. When I lived in Pensacola, and it was the Carmike Theater at the time, I believe it was still Carmike or AMC. I saw that movie poster, and I was walking with my wife. I said, "Babe, that's me. That's me," and it kills me to know that this is how his life ended, and I wouldn't wish that on anyone. So my thoughts and prayers go to his family and his loved ones. We love you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel where you get all the updates of every time you watch any of my videos. So Ian, where can we find you on social media?
You can find me at I_controversy on Instagram and Twitter, but check my YouTube channel out, youtube.com/thecontroversy. That's where you can find some of my great content. And let's have more discussions. I like to talk pop culture. I like to talk movies, television, and hip hop. So yeah, in final closing, Wakanda forever. Rest in love, Chadwick.
Yeah, definitely. And Jeremy, where can we find you on social media?
Movies Are Terrible. Check out the Movies Are Terrible YouTube channel. And if you want to follow me on social media, it's Jeremy B. Terrible.
Awesome. And Thank you guys so much for watching. You know where to find us. And as always, Wakanda forever.